under the guise of Confucius classrooms, which is ridiculous, by the way, because the CCP demonized Confucius and basically, I won't even repeat what they said, but insulted Confucius. The CCP was anti-Confucius because he taught family values. But they note here that these institutions have been especially concentrated close to U.S. military bases. As one member of the CCP Politburo put it, Confucius Institutes are a part of China's foreign propaganda strategy. So why are we still allowing it, right? Now they note as well, support for communism should have no place in American schools. Unfortunately, troubling statistics show 28% of Gen Z hold a favorable opinion of the term communism compared to just 6 and 3% for boomers and the silent generation. And it's that 18% of Gen Z think communism is a fairer system than capitalism and deserves consideration in America. And it says 19% of Gen Z believe that dictatorship is the best political system compared to only 3% of the silent generation. Now, look, those numbers are shocking, especially when you consider these younger generations are the future of our country. And if that's what they want, if that many believe that communism is a better idea, or they believe the country should have that, then those individuals who grow up one day, they're going to try to push it in the future. Now, personally, I think that educating kids about the dangers of communism would make a huge difference. I personally do not believe that kids would support communism if they really knew what it was. If they really knew the truth about it, if they really know what it has accomplished, which is the killing of upwards of 150 million people, I don't think they would support it. I think they only support it because they've been lied to and indoctrinated with propaganda, including from the CCP. And even from some of the crazy stuff they're teaching kids in the schools in general. Now, it's also important to note that this huge shift in views between generations may not be by accident. As they note, the Chinese Communist Party has in fact been infiltrating the American education system, and the views the CCP teaches are those of the communist regime. They want to demonize the American system, and they want to promote the CCP's system. They demonize America, they demonize American values, they demonize everything we stand for, and they try to promote again what they call the China model, saying that this is what works. That's what they tell our kids. Now, look, it's something that really does oppose the founding values of the United States and everything we stand for. And I think this would raise the real question of why are we allowing it in our schools if that's the case. Now, Committee on Education and the Workforce Chairwoman Virginia Fox said in a statement that it's not a radical idea to say that American values should be taught in American schools. What a concept, right? But she said, but at a time when nearly a third of Gen Z are in favor of communism, it's clear. She says it's clear that we're falling short when it comes to educating young people about the history and dangers of that ideology. The Crucial Communism Teaching Act, this one that just got passed by the House, is an important step in making sure that the future leaders of our great nation have the tools and knowledge to protect capitalism and freedom for the next generation. She said, I'm grateful to Congresswoman Salazar for lending her firsthand experiences and leadership to this vital effort. Now, I think this is an important point as well. The system of government that we have, and even the basic value of freedom, these can be lost in a single generation if future generations don't uphold it. And in addition to this, there are communist and socialist groups aggressively targeting our kids for these exact reasons. House Speaker Mike Johnson, he raised this point as well. He said in a statement that communism has a long, dark history of political suppression, persecution, and violence. And he said that unfortunately the realities of communism are often overlooked or downplayed in our education system, allowing malign foreign actors to push their agendas and influence American institutions. He said, as we face growing challenges from adversaries like the Chinese Communist Party, the Crucial Communism Teaching Act takes a stand against this dangerous trend.
This, they had to come down with this charge for the very reason of tourists, of the well-being of the citizens, of the credibility. If Bragg can try to get credibility with the citizens, they had to do a murder one charge. And gunning somebody down in cold blood because of a titular reason, the title, gun down a judge because they're a judge. You gun down a cop because she is a cop. You gun down this guy, Brian Thompson, because he's the head of United Healthcare. That is terrorism. There's a big difference. I've taken the children to go see plays and go skating at Rockefeller Center and Woolman without fear of terrorism.
No, I think it's a correct charge because, first of all, it's precedent setting for any possible copycats out there. Now, the highest charge that New York can bring was brought against him. And it did intimidate the public, and not only just the public in general. Every CEO in this country felt fear and was frightened by this and took steps security-wise with them, their families, not just in the healthcare system, but every CEO in this country was now under the intimidation of a murder like this. So I think going forward, it's the right charge, and it's going to have a ripple effect with any possible copycats that are going to go on.
Can threaten Europe's grand experiment in monetary union, as it did back then. Think what a major economy such as France, one of the two cornerstones of Europe's wider economic and political union, might do. And as Europe once again stands at the edge of the precipice, staring into the abyss below. It has been there so many times before, only to step away at the last minute, that one must suppose some way will again be found to muddle through. Yet at this point, things look pretty desperate. It says, the situation is similar in some respects to the threat of government shutdown that perennially affects Washington when congressional lawmakers refuse to raise the debt ceiling.
Lounging without a shirt on, not working, I might add, like the rest of us. Wow, he doesn't look like he's in any back pain right there to me. None whatsoever. Oh, there he is running on the beach. In many shots, I see him lounging with Hawaiian beauty, scantily clad. Oh, there he is again. No problem, no indication of any pain whatsoever. But that's a whole other can of worms. Just before being gunned down, Thompson was urging executives to focus on steps to eliminate out-of-pocket costs for life-saving drugs. He understood, quote, the public's frustration with what they perceived as the company's actions, actively articulating a vision that helped educate and help people understand what the company was doing, and so on and so on. But the point is, he had been urging the other healthcare executives to focus on taking steps to get rid of out-of-pocket costs for consumers.
Yeah, so as smart as Luigi Mangione thinks that he is, and other people think that he is, and this elaborate plan and how much thought went into it, and him being an engineer, he clearly wasn't very smart, right? Because he didn't do any research about the exact person that he was targeting, the one that he thought was the face of this healthcare industry to blame for all the costs and for essentially what they say costing people lives and the healthcare industry having blood on their hands. But this wasn't the man. This was the man that was actually fighting for the little people. He infiltrated the system. He worked hard. He got to the top, and then he was fighting for the very people that Luigi Mangione said he's fighting for. So he clearly didn't do his research. He didn't do his homework, and he's not as smart as he thinks he is.
They'll actually be forced to step down, and they might be forced to have a new election. Now, of course, when it comes to problems of economies, the problems we're seeing do have a solution. There is a way out, but it's not a solution that many of these countries seem willing to face just yet. To get out of debt, what do? If you want to get out of debt, you have to stop spending so much money. You need to start spending within your means, and you need to maybe spend a bit below it to start paying off your debt. That's how you get out of debt. You have to, live a bit more of a frugal life. Maybe not eat out every night. Maybe live a little less extravagantly, so you can have a bit of extra money to pay, not just pay the interest on debt, but pay off your debt. How do you do that? Well, you spend a lot less money. You need to get rid of a lot of the things that you've been putting your money in. You need to get rid of a lot of the luxuries you've been enjoying. You need to change the way you live in order to get out of debt.
Democrats.
And for Europe, they're facing that reality just like we are in the United States. Now, Argentina, as I was mentioning, they have made the model for this. Javier Milei, the new president of Argentina, Trump has said that he's his favorite president, his favorite foreign leader. And they have shown a way out. It's not one of these countries are willing to face just yet, it seems. But to get out of debt, you need to start spending within your means, and you need to have an economic system that is self-sustaining. And for some of these countries, that likely means cutting some of their socialist policies, possibly reducing government spending. And look, Argentina, under President Javier Milei, they are quickly becoming a working example of how this can be done. The National Poll said this. They said in just 1 year, President Javier Milei has transformed Argentina's economic landscape, slashing the national budget deficit to zero for the first time in 123 years. They say this is a historic milestone for his presidency, which began December 10th, 2023, about 1 year ago, right? Then Milei took over an economy crippled by rampant inflation, where supermarkets had to adjust prices daily. However, with his aggressive cutbacks to the size of the state, often symbolized by his wielding a chainsaw, which he's done in his campaign trail, Milei has steered the country back toward fiscal stability.